Republicans saying, we're not going to entertain any nominee from the president.
You do not have a lame duck president make a lifetime appointment to the highest court on the land. The president can decide whatever he wants, but I'm just telling you, the Senate's not moving forward on it.
This country should send a very clear message. That is not the way our Constitution works.
Supreme Court justices have died while in office, not like this one. Presidents have been faced with the constitutional designated task of appointing a replacement for that vacancy, not like this one. And there have been angry discourses and political rancor that has shaken the halls of Congress and made Americans wonder how their futures will change with new jurists wearing the robes. But there's never been a time in our memory when that anger has been at such a crescendo and when the stakes have been so incredibly high. Our guest was the 80th United States Attorney General, a former Supreme Court justice in the state of Texas, currently dean at the Belmont University School of Law in Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome back, Alberto Gonzales, to the Hard Line. Dean Gonzales, always a pleasure to have you on the show, and I'm glad we have you to explain this. Let's start right out with the absolute. If you believe in the Constitution and if you follow it, left or right makes no difference. Is it not proper to say that both sides are acting within their constitutional boundaries?
There's no question about that. Listen, the Constitution anticipates when there's a vacancy on the Supreme Court that the President of the United States shall fill that vacancy when ready to do so. And after that nomination, then it's within the hands of the Senate. And the Senate operates on its own calendar, and they decide when they want to have a hearing, if at all. They'll decide if they want to have a floor vote, if at all, and they'll make a determination as to whether or not the person nominated by the President is qualified to receive a lifetime appointment to the U.S. Supreme Court based upon that nominee's experience, integrity, and ideology.
Let's talk about the phrase stalling tactics, because there are people on the left who are screaming right now saying that's all the Republicans are doing. It's stall. But wait a minute. Calm down. Take a breath. The Republicans are basically doing nothing different than what the Democrats have done. Stalling tactics are part of the procedure and part of a constitutionally designated government, yes?
Well, there's no question about it that, like it or not, the process of confirming a justice has become fairly politicized. I'm hopeful that we'll never see the day where the practice of judging, the actual judging of cases, becomes politicized as we've seen it become in the confirmation process. And as I said earlier, the Senate can decide when it's going to take action on a nomination. And it is certainly true. When I worked in the White House for 4 years, and had to deal with a Democratic-controlled Senate, we had many fine nominees, federal nominees, blocked by Democratic senators for various reasons. For example, in Michigan, we were trying to get a Sixth Circuit position filled in Michigan, and the two Democratic senators from Michigan refused to move forward on allowing even a hearing because one of the senators wanted to have a relative considered for the position. We had a very well-qualified Hispanic we wanted to nominate to the D.C. Circuit. In fact, was nominated to the D.C. Circuit, and that nomination never went forward. So Democrats are speaking here with unclean hands. They don't have the moral high ground to talk about Republicans blocking Democratic nominees, because this happens by both parties.
But about 90 seconds I have left here. The Republican chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Iowa Senator Charles Grassley, said it was standard practice not to consider Supreme Court nominees in an election year. That's hyperbole, is it not?
Yeah, if there is such a standard practice within the Senate, it's one that I'm not aware of and one that I was not made aware of when I was White House counsel or as Attorney General. Again, not having served in the Senate, I can't speak with authority as to what is standard practice, but certainly if that is the standard practice, that was never communicated to the Bush White House or the Bush administration.
Do you see any way possible that the president may bring in a moderate, somebody that the GOP may stand for, may actually go for, and a possibility that this could be done before the end of the year? Or is that just, in light of what happens in the D.C. Beltway these days, a complete impossibility?
Well, anything is possible, and I think it's going to be highly unlikely given the public stance that some Senate Republicans have already taken. But to really answer your question, I would really have to know this president. This is a very personal decision by the President of the United States. I have some degree of confidence what President George W. Bush would do, but not knowing President Obama, it's just very, very difficult for me to predict which direction he's going to go in terms of nominating someone far left or someone who's more moderate. I just don't know.
10 seconds. Do you think Loretta Lynch will be the main choice for the president?
Again, not knowing the president, I have no idea.
Okay, well, it certainly is something that we have to consider because the president is out there, the pundits are out there, they're throwing her name out there, including Cory Booker's name as well. But at the end of the day, this is still Beltway politics, and we are seeing it unfold in front of us, and the American people have got to realize this is the logjam that we are facing right now in Washington, D.C. Dean Alberto Gonzales, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you very much for your comments.
Thanks for having me.